Hi, I'm Amber with AARP Missouri.
And I'm Dave. I love wine.
Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of AARP Missouri, I'd like to introduce a new virtual series called The Good Life with AARP. This series will share resources, experiences, and tools for our members to live their best lives, the good life. We want our members to have healthy lives by living actively and connecting locally. There are going to be several topics that we're going to cover during this series that include healthy living, healthy cooking, maybe a yoga or a Tai Chi class. But today we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, wine. So as we kick off this new series with our very first Wine Time episode, it's my pleasure to introduce Dave Hayes. He is our resident expert guru, and we like to call him our Wine Time guy. So Dave has an extensive knowledge in experience and also a passion for wine. So today he's going to share with us some of his insights, and hopefully we are all going to learn something new about wine today.
That's the best part, is we get to learn how to enjoy it more, and that's what we're here for. I think it's a great series that you guys have put together at AARP with the Good Life. I think that's an important thing right now. A lot of people, some people are struggling, some people are not necessarily living their best lives that they would like to be. None of us really are where we want to be right now. So we want to take this opportunity to share some of the good things with you and help you enjoy those even more. We've got some episodes coming up. We're going to talk about different styles of wine. We're going to talk about rosé. We're going to talk about white wine. We're going to talk about red wines, obviously, sparkling wines, of course, dessert wine. And then for our final episode, we have kind of a fun surprise planned. We're actually going to have a real life winemaker come on and talk about the wine industry, talk about his experiences and what he does. And so we're really excited about that. So what with all those styles we just talked about, do you guys have a favorite wine or a go-to wine? Put that in the comments, and that way we can kind of follow up on those and kind of see what everybody likes before we get into this and before we start the next episode. So we're looking forward to it.
That's right. And so beyond those specific types of wine, and of course you don't want to miss our special guest, the winemaker, we're also going to be talking about the health benefits, also the misconceptions of wine, food pairings, but we're also going to talk about career opportunities, which, speaking of which, Dave has a really interesting story about how he got into the wine industry and his journey so far. Dave, would you mind sharing with us?
Sure. So I grew up in rural mid-America, just the middle of nowhere almost, basically, and probably there, if you remember the old Budweiser commercials, born on dates, we knew more about born on dates than we did vintages. And so that is kind of where I come from, and I really never learned much about it even until my mid to late 20s. And I was managing hotels and restaurants, and we had a restaurant at one of the hotels, at the hotel that had a really good restaurant. It was a really good restaurant with a so-so wine list. And so we wanted to upgrade that wine list, take it to the next level, to meet up with the level of food and service that we were providing. So the problem was we didn't know a lot about wine at the time, those of us that were kind of in charge of making those things happen. So we decided that we would learn about it, but at the same time we were learning, we were going to teach our customers about it. And so they went on to, that restaurant went on to win several awards, wine awards, service awards, quality awards. And so real proud of that. But that was kind of my start. I got out of that business after a while, out of the hospitality business completely. But wine was still a passion, and more importantly than just learning about wine and of course drinking wine, but teaching people about wine and helping them understand better how it can enhance their life. And so there's just a lot of confusing things about it. We're going to cover some of those things and try to make them as easy as we possibly can and go from there. So looking forward to it.
That sounds great. Well, people are definitely putting in their favorite wines. I've seen a couple of Moscatos. I've seen some sweet. I've also saw a Riesling. So Dave, it's happy hour. What are you drinking today?
Well, I actually have a Zinfandel from Lodi in California. Lodi is a region just to the east of Napa and Sonoma a little ways, which is where we often think about our wine's coming from. Zinfandel is kind of confusing for some people because they remember it more for the sweet, syrupy stuff from the 80s that they sold a lot of, still do sell a lot of, but and a lot of people look down on that style of wine, and I get that because it's different. It's not what everyone drinks. You think about for a big meal, but it had its place. And I'm less critical of white Zinfandel than I used to be. I used to have a T-shirt that said "Friends don't let friends drink white Zinfandel."
Like me.
So I said, I did some research on it, and I found out that this is actually an old vine Zinfandel that I'm drinking here. And what that means is, as grapevines age, they don't produce as much fruit, and it's smaller, and so the yield is less. It's more concentrated and rich. And so you really want, if you can get old vine wine, that's usually a pretty good route to take. So, but back in the time that white Zinfandel was blowing up, we were in the process of also a Cabernet boom, Chardonnay boom, that type of things. And they were tearing old Zinfandel vineyards that had been planted in the late 1800s out to put in these higher volumes that they could sell more of wines, Cabernet and Chardonnay. But the only thing that saved some of these old vineyards was white Zinfandel. They were making white Zinfandel out of these 100-year-old vines. And because of that, we still have the opportunity to drink old vine Zinfandel today. And so I'm a lot less hard on white Zinfandel than I used to be, because it's saved for good wine. So
Very nice.
The other thing that we'll talk about tasting, and we'll get into just a little bit, is we have, I kind of tell people there's 6 S's to this. So we'll go through those real quick. The first one is to see. So you want to look at the wine. Obviously, you see what color it is, but is there any shades? Can you see through it? Is it opaque? That kind of stuff. Doesn't matter if you like it, but it's just something interesting to take a look at. The next thing you want to do is swirl, and this can get messy unless you're a trained professional. So, or at least you had a lot of practice. But the best way to learn is, I don't want to sit on the table because you can't see my glass, but if you pretend like my hand is the tabletop and you put it on and you spin it like, on top of the table, then you'll get that swirl. You're introducing oxygen to the wine. You'll get better aromas out of it. And it kind of just helps enhance the flavor. So that's the first 2. The next one is to sniff. And I don't mean like, what do I smell? But no, you get in there. You put that nose in there.
Get that nose in.
You sniff all around. Get all the flavors you can out of it. And that's going to tell you a lot about the wine too. The aromas is what it actually helps you taste the wine better. So the next 3 S's I'm going to cover all at once, because after the next one, my mouth will have wine in it, so I won't be able to talk. So the next 3 are sip, swish, and savor. So the first thing you want to do, just bring a little bit into your mouth, your first taste. You can drink it later on, but bring a little bit in. You want to swish it around your mouth, touch all the parts of your mouth with it. Because you'll taste different things in different parts of your mouth. It's just the way that it works. And the last S is savor. And you can do that in a couple of different ways, because you want to learn what kind of finish this wine has on it. So you can either spit it out if you're doing a big tasting and you don't want to consume all of the wine. You'll want to spit some of it out. I know a lot of people call it alcohol abuse, but you have to do it. So if you're tasting a lot, but the most favorite part is to swallow, which is another S, but we just combine those into savor because you can do either one there. So I'll just kind of show you. It may sound a little funny because in the swish part, I'm actually going to draw a little bit of air into my mouth while I'm swishing it around. If you haven't done that, practice in private, because you can drool while you're trying to do that. We don't want to see that. So anyway, let's try that. So there you go. There's 6 S's. See, swirl, sniff, sip, swish, and savor. Savor. 6. There we go.
Very good.
So what are you drinking today, Amber?
So actually, I am drinking something light and fruity and sweet. I am drinking Moscato. So it seems like to be a drink of choice tonight. That
seems to be very popular on the comments that are popping up. So I think everyone will like your choice. Probably better than mine, maybe. But a lot of people actually, are drinking sweet wines today. I do work in the retail wine business, and I sell a lot of sweet wines every day. And one thing that I try to encourage people who only drink sweet wines to do, and that's what we hope to do a little bit here, is talk about expanding your palate.
That's right.
so that you can try new things. And you've agreed graciously to try new things with us as we go along throughout the following tasting. So we'll get to some of that. But sweet wine's perfect. It is Tuesday, so sweet wines go great with spicy food. So definitely Taco Tuesday, Moscato, great choice. Excellent job.
Great, great. Well, that is awesome. So, well, I know what I'm having tonight for dinner for sure. So, and what drink I'm going to have with it. So,
There we go.
so Dave, one of the things that we've always talked about is that, the good life, you have good friends, good conversation, good food, and of course that includes good wine. So, is there a story or a memory or a trip or something that you can think of that is really special to you?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I do travel a lot for wine. I've been to California several times. I've been to Virginia wine country a couple of times. I've been to Arizona wineries. So we make wine all over. That's something to remember.
That's right.
But
We'll
B,
travel for wine.
that's right. That's why. So, but probably my best memories are. I always say it's the next one. That's the cheesy answer. But probably looking back, it's always been, we took a trip in 2017 for our wedding anniversary and out to California. We napped in Sonoma, and we took a couple of our friends went with us who we're really good friends with, and it was a fantastic trip. We just had an amazing time, and those memories, we still talk about that trip today, and we're trying to plan the next one right now. But of course, we're all trapped having Zoom meetings and
Right.
virtual wine tastings. So
Right.
it's not quite the same, but we do what we can, and we look forward to the next time when we can all get together. But I always, a lot of people kind of along those lines about memorable experiences. A lot of people have wines in their cellars or their closets that like, oh, I'm saving that for a special occasion.
Wow.
And I've always had this theory or this saying I tell people is like, don't save wine for a special occasion because wine can make any occasion special. And so
Absolutely.
that's kind of
Absolutely.
one of the things that one of the mantras that I follow. I'm not afraid to bust open a good bottle of wine with good friends just because it's good friends. So
That's right. That's awesome. That's a good mantra to live by. So for
how
sure.
about you? Do you have any memorable wine experiences?
I do. A lot of mine, very similar, are around friends, girlfriends, girls' trips, going to wineries, and just sitting around, catching up, talking about what's happening. Long life friends, catching up and laughing. And it might be wine, it might be wine slushies, it might be some other cocktails, but definitely. I agree with you. When you're with your friends and making those memories, those priceless memories, and like you said, right now, while we can't, this is the best way we can do that. And I know we're all looking forward to 2021 when hopefully we'll be able to travel again. But until then, we definitely have those memories that we can think about and catch up with our friends on.
Definitely.
So, wow. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I can't tell you how much I've learned. We hope you did too. Not only about the 6 S's, so keep those in mind. The see it, swirl it, sniff it, sip it, swish it, and savor it. If you had a good time, tell your friends, and don't forget to like us so that you'll know when we go live next week. So, speaking of next week, plan to join us next Tuesday, August 25th at 5 p.m. We're going to have our second episode of Wine Time, and we're going to be talking about what, Dave?
Rosé.
Rosé all day. That's right. So I'm sure you'll want to tune in for that also. If you have any questions or comments, please share those with us also on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And don't forget to check out our website for other AARP virtual events that are taking place. You can find this at aarp.org/Missouri. It's also up there, which is fantastic. So again, thank you so much to Dave, our wine time guy, and for each of you for joining us tonight for our induction into the Good Life with AARP series, and of course, our first Wine Time episode. So until next week, Dave and I want to say cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. And we'll see you next week.